To be frank, the moment a company becomes public, company starts to have to adhere to stakeholder expectations, generating returns so that in the future stock prices can rise and your shareholders can make money in the long run. What this is accelerating is the speed at which the company matures in market, because any company out there in the world will only be able to reach a certain size, and once they reach a certain size, they will have to expand the categories or products that they offer in order to keep up with that growth that is demanded of them, which is coming from shareholders. Again, you have IPO'd, you have to maximize shareholder value. And that is essentially a death trap, because all companies start in a niche. For instance, for Lulu, it started with yoga. With these sports companies, they are rooted in one sport. But once they go public, they have to expand beyond the very niche they founded their business on and keep appending and adding new categories, new sports to their lineup. And eventually, as you start adding more and more, your brand becomes diluted. If you take the blueprint for most of these sports companies in terms of colors and reports, they are referring to industry and researchers to get an understanding of what are the seasonal colors that will be popular in years ahead. And if you take a look at what all these brands are putting out and the colors that they're using, it's all the same stuff. So it made me think that they're all colluding at the top and they're using that to control the narrative. They are the invisible hand that pushes the trends that we anticipate in the future. As a public company, in order to grow, you will have to add on new categories, adopt seasonal color palettes that are decided by those at the very top. And you're doing this season on season till it doesn't work anymore, because no business grows forever. There will always come a time where businesses start to slow down in growth or even start posing negative comp year on year, because this desire for unlimited growth is, frankly speaking, unhealthy, as everyone just hops on to what would make money at this point in time as opposed to persevering in the one thing that makes their brand truly outstanding. And that is when I started to realize that perhaps a small but beautiful company is much more sustainable from a brand positioning perspective compared to companies that are big as of now. I'm growing more and more disappointed in the idea of corporate and the systems that corporates are founded upon. The fact that the prerequisites for promotion is how you perform at your current job. And it's never based on the prerequisites and roles and responsibilities of the job that you will eventually grow into. That's one thing that's broken. So a lot of people who don't have competence at the next level but are very competent at their current level have to get forced into management, although they themselves might not be the best candidate to manage others. I do see the trend of, let's say, in tech companies, engineers who do not want to lead a team or become a manager can evolve themselves into technical experts or senior engineers that keep on thriving as individual contributors. But outside of that, almost all of these corporates, in order for you to get a bump in salary, you have to climb the corporate ladder, and eventually you will have to manage. But again, that's not something that is for everyone. And oftentimes I think whether it is for myself, this management thing. I do take a lot of joy in mentoring people, being able to help someone grow in their role. But what I'm also very disappointed in is after 8 or 10 years working in a corporate setting, you don't find a lot of individuals like this who are willing to teach as opposed to just delegate right off the bat. Because looking back, all that I learned from my previous jobs, I had to do myself. I had to learn through doing, and there wasn't a lot of mentorship, and there wasn't a lot of training that's provided. It's always you get the task and you'll learn on the job, which is necessary, don't get me wrong. But there's a dire need for mentorship, especially for people who are joining the workforce for the very first time in their lives. And after interacting with these entry level associates or even interns, I feel a really strong desire to help these guys out. Because when I first started, no one lent me a hand. And I had to just dive into the ocean and learn how to swim. And perhaps if I did more of that, I would be able to find more meaning in what I do. And that's why I wanted to start this channel so I can give back and potentially help out with your growth as someone who's in the same industry, or to just share my 2 cents on how to live life and go after the things that you want to go after, the things you truly desire. Because I often talk about desire proxies, there's so much of that. And taking that back into the corporate setting, the desire proxy is just status, promotion, titles in a corporate setting, to be frank. And it is a excruciatingly brutal thing that people of higher status will be treated much better. And it's brutal because I am more inclined to interact with peers. So, what I do is I treat everyone like a peer. So, up to a certain point, the end game in corporate is just to maximize what you can get at each level through either getting promotions or hopping companies. And people are becoming aware this system that they're contributing to, especially the average person. It's getting harder and harder to keep doing this day by day, day in and day out, and having to put a smile on your face and pretend that everything is okay.